Happening this morning, Albuquerque's school board is going to have a special closed-door meeting to talk about Superintendent Winston Brooks' evaluation. As you know, just recently, he was suspended for 3 days for some controversial comments he's had on Twitter about Secretary of Public Education designate Hannah Scandera. During that 3-day suspension, Mr. Brooks was involved in some sort of dispute with his wife at their home in Cedar Crest. No one was charged there. He ended up going to the hospital after that. Mr. Brooks did go back to work last week. On the top of all this, the school board is currently deciding whether to extend Winston's contract beyond 2016. We'll keep you updated. Elizabeth.
Despite oppositions from teachers and even some lawmakers, Governor Susana Martinez says she's moving forward with a new rating system for teachers. 2 state senators asked Public Education Secretary designate Hannah Scandera for more time to get used to the new rating system, but the Santa Fe New Mexican is reporting that the governor's administration signaled it is not budging. The evaluation system affects 18,000 teachers statewide. Some lawmakers and teachers unions have taken the new system to court. A scheduled hearing is set for this Thursday. Albuquerque voters are getting ready to cast their ballots in the city's special election tomorrow.
And protesters on both sides of this controversial late-term abortion ban are doing everything they can to get your last-minute vote.
We are building a movement for women's liberation.
All right, this weekend, these activists against the proposed ban stood outside of UNM sporting signs that said, "Defeat the ban, defeat the war on women." They argue the issue here is about women's rights.
And this fight has never been about babies, it's never been about life, it's always been about controlling women, and that's what we're out here to say, is that actually we have the moral high ground. We're about saving women's lives, we're about liberating women.
Other groups are arguing the exact opposite, saying late-term abortions are horrific acts. They're driving around this mobile billboard with quite graphic pictures on it. An anti-abortion protester, the one who disrupted a Veterans Day ceremony a week ago today, is still in jail this morning, and a psychiatric evaluation is expected for him today. A friend posted bond for Rivas Grogan on Friday, but he is still behind bars. The friend, Cleve McDaniel here, says he thinks it's because Mr. Grogan was preaching the gospel behind bars. He was arrested Thursday for public disruption here at UNM, and McDaniel also thinks the arrest is unconstitutional.
Who has the right to take away your First Amendment? You know, who has the right to tell you to be quiet about anything you have to say?
Somebody, America is breaking the law!
Rivas Grogan here is from Los Angeles. He came to Albuquerque because of tomorrow's special election on that late-term abortion ban. Our 534 now, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputy who got shot 3 weeks ago is getting a 30% pay cut this morning.
Yeah, Deputy Robin Hopkins is still recovering from the injury she got when a man went on a shooting spree targeting cops. Well, the president of the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Association says Deputy Hopkins' case highlights a big loophole in the system. While her injury is covered by workman's comp, she says that nothing is being paid into her retirement account and that in a few months her insurance premiums won't be covered.
Her husband and young son will lose their medical insurance unless she pays about $1,000 out of pocket per month to keep the insurance going.
Meanwhile, county employees are able to donate vacation or sick time to Deputy Hopkins so she can get a full paycheck. The union and the sheriff are trying to get state leaders to change the system. We now have a better idea of what went down in the officer-involved shooting that we told you about as breaking news on Friday morning. Police say 64-year-old Robert Garcia was the man pulled over by an officer at Montgomery and Washington. The officer suspected Garcia was drunk when he pulled him over. Chief Ellen Banks says Garcia had a gun. You're going to see cell phone video, a witness captured. Listen to the audio. Officials say you can actually hear the officer telling the driver to put down the gun several times before he fired. At last check, the driver was listed in critical condition. The name of the officer has not been released as the investigation continues. You may remember a story about a man who police say was targeting kids in his car, trying to run them over while they were shooting hoops.
Well, that is only half of the story. That's according to to the man's mother. Katie Kim was on special assignment on Friday, where Martha Parsons said her son David is diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and wasn't taking his medicine last month. David was arrested and charged with aggravated assault in that instance with the kids and is still in jail. Martha says for years she tried to get her son help but was constantly turned away.
You feel hopeless. You feel like nobody's going to help them. You know, they give up on them.
All right, to find out what resources are available here in New Mexico to help the mentally ill, make sure you check out our website, krqe.com. You can watch the full story there anytime, or you can watch Katie's story tonight at 9 o'clock on 2 Casa Fox. Well, a mother and her son are in some big trouble this morning for putting a small puppy in a Ziploc bag, taking a picture, then posting it on Facebook. I do want to warn you, the story in the picture here is a little graphic. Deputies got a tip and they say Mary Snell put the dog in this bag and her son James Engel took the picture and put it on Facebook. Both of them are now charged with extreme cruelty to animals. The puppy in the photo, thank goodness, is okay. It is now with Snell's family.
Students at New Mexico State who are on the lottery scholarship are getting a break this spring. The university says it's getting ready to cover up to 60% of spring for tuition. NMSU is doing that because the scholarship fund is running on empty as more students are using it and not enough people are playing the lotto. The issue is sure to come up at the Roundhouse in January if legislators can't shore up the scholarships. NMSU says it will cover the costs. About 14,000 students statewide depend on the lottery scholarships.